Hello students, good afternoon to all. So today we'll continue lesson 3 types of software. In the last class we have studied about the software and the classification of software, that is the system software and the application software. Today we'll study about the operating system. So this operating system is a program with the following features. Operating system is the program with the following features. And what are the features? Operating system is a program that acts as an interface. This operating system acts as a mediator between the software and the computer hardware. So what I am giving the instruction with the help of the mouse. So that instruction first goes to the operating system, that is the Windows, and Windows manages that what action has to take place. Okay, second, it is an integrated set of specialized program used to manage overall resources and the operation of the computer. This OS is called the system software. So this is also a special program and which manage overall resources, means hardware resources, memory resources, processor resources. All these are the resources of the computer. So all the resources is managed by the operating system. Third characteristic, it is a specialized software that controls and monitors the execution of all other programs that reside in the computer. It controls and monitors all other programs. Means I am taking the class at present time. This is also managed by the operating system. I have opened this Microsoft Word file that is also managed by the operating system. And this operating system resides in the computer only, including application programs and other system software. You can see the user gives how the user open any applications. The user applications operating system. So the instructions to open the application it goes to the operating system. And the operating system gives the instructions to the hardware. Okay. So as we can say also that operating system is just the like the principal of our school, which manages everything, every resources. He manages the teachers also. He manages the students also. He manages the other office staffs also. Okay. So operating system is just like the principal of our school, and the principal has the various responsibilities. Similarly, here the operating system also has the various responsibilities. In the same way, number of services means operating system manage the number of services provided by the operating system. Operating system act as a central coordinator between the hardware and software. The hardware provides the user with basic. What the hardware provides? Hardware provides the user with basic physical resources to work upon, and the application or utility software empower the user to perform a variety of functions on the computer, like solving problems, creating documents, playing games, etc. So operating systems are also classified into GUI and CUI. GUI means graphical user interface. Nowadays, what the operating system I am using, that you can see, that is the GUI, graphical user interface. What you find, there you find many things like the desktop, and on the desktop you find the icons. So see, this is the graphical user interface. Everything, any file I have to open, so I have to make a double click on that. So suppose I want to open this Microsoft Excel. So I have to make a double click. So this is the graphical user interface. But in the character user interface, you have to type your command instruction with the help of the keyboard. That is the character user interface. Okay. So what are the objectives of the operating system? This before that, we will discuss about the character user interface is also known as that is the CUI, and this type of operating system requires you to type the commands on the DOS prompt. It is also called the command prompt. So Unix and DOS are the popular example of the character user interface operating system is the Unix and DOS. Graphical user interface is the operating system which is interactive in nature. You can use several devices like the mouse, keyboard, etc. to interact with the system, and Windows is the most popular. So what are the objectives of the operating system? To make the computer system convenient to use in an efficient manner, to hide the details of the hardware resources from the users, means hard details of the hardware resources means I am not worried about the processor, that how it is executing my instructions. I'm not worried about the memories, that how the memories are storing the information. Just we are saving our files into the memory, and just we are accessing our files from the memory. To provide users a convenient interface to use the computer system. Directly, I'm not communicating with the hardware. Everything, my communication to the hardware is given by the operating system only. So whatever the instructions I am giving, that first goes to the operating system. Means directly I am not establishing a communication with the hardware. Second, third objective, that operating system act as the intermediary between the hardware and its user. Yes, between the hardware and the user, intermediator is what? Who is the mediator? Operating system, making it easier for the user to access and use other resources. Manage the resources of the computer system. Yes, operating system manages the resources of the computer system. To keep track who is using which resource, granting resource request and mediating the conflicting requests on different programs and users. So it kept track also, information also, who is using which resource, who is using the printer, and who is got the permission to access the resource, and who have to wait. Mediating the conflict, suppose for same resources, the same print command is given by the four persons, so the other persons have to wait, it will show the message. So next is that to provide the efficient and fair sharing of resources among users and programs. It's also the sharing of the resources among users and programs, that also it is managed. At how the processors, how the memory, how same processor is used by many programs, many applications. We are open. See, as you can see, I have opened Microsoft Word 2 document. One is a practice question, another is a, you see, document 2. Another thing, I have opened also the software for recording. So these three applications I have opened, but all the applications are getting the processor at one time, one by one, means in a sequence manner. That is called the round robin method. Next is the characteristics of the operating system. Here is a list of some of the most prominent characteristic features of the operating system. That is also called the functions of operating system. So what are the functions of operating system? First is the processor management, which I have also discussed, and memory management. So processor management, in this processor management, operating system manages the working of the processor by allocating the processor various jobs. It ensures that each process and application receives enough time by the processor to function properly. That is the processor management. Means operating system allocates the processor a job, a process, and deallocates the processor when it is no longer required. Memory management keeps track of the primary memory, that is the RAM, and secondary memory also, by what part of it is used by whom and what part is not in use, and allocates the memory when a processor or program requests. Whenever you want to open any file, any program, so that program needs the memory, and the allocation of memory in the RAM, because we have to bring this, when the processor will bring that program into the RAM, then only the processor will be able to execute it, will be able to run it or open it. Okay, that is the memory management, and it gives a track to whom the memory is allocated and to whom the memory is deallocates, which process is not using the, which process is not getting the processor for a long time. Next is device management. Keeps track of all devices, means all input output devices are controlled by the this operating system only, that decides which process gets the device when and for how much time. Next is the file management. Allocates and deallocates the resources and decides who gets the resource. That is the file management. Here resources means what? Memory. Resources means what? Hardware. Security. So it also, in the file management, it also keeps a track of information regarding creation, how, which, by which name the file is created, which file is deleted, which file is transferred, which file is copied, like all these things. Next is the security. Prevents unauthorized access to the programs and data by means of passwords and other similar techniques. So when you set the passwords, so whenever you turn on your computer, first it will ask the user ID and password, then only you can get the access of the files or programs in your computer. Next is job scheduling. Keeps track of the time and resources used by the various jobs and other users. So it tracks all the resources, who is using the jobs, which jobs is running. Control over system performance, records delays between the request for a service and from the system. So it records the delays between the request for a service. Suppose a request is given for the input, and that input takes time for getting the getting. So it will put that process into a wait state, and the next process will get the chance for the execution in the processor. Interaction with the operators. Interaction may take place by the console of the computer. So how the with the operators we get the interaction. From the console of the computer, the form of instruction console means your this monitors and hardware devices, and informs the operation by display screen. Error detecting aids. So production of dumps, traces, error message, and other things, debugging and error detecting methods. So whatever the message you are getting on the error time, that is the error detecting aids, and this aids helps is provided by the operating system only. Coordination between the other software users, coordination and assignment of the compilers, interpreters, assemblers, and other software to the various users of the operating system. So in the when we learn the Python programming language, there we will learn about the compiler and interpreters, because in the Python we write the program in the English language, but the computer do not understand the English language. Computer understands the byte codes or machine code, that is called the zeros and one. So the job of the compiler and interpreter to convert the English language, high level language, into the machine code, that is the byte code zeros and one. So that we'll learn in detail about this in the when I will teach you the chapter Python. Okay, so this is all for the today, students. In the next class, we will discuss about the other topics, that is the language processor, assembler, interpreter, and other thing. So thank you for your kind attention.